Hey guys, I'm going to work on this corner. Basically, I've already removed that that piece, the piece that was in there, and I'm going to put this one in here and rebuild this corner based on this. And so I'll weld. Spent today welding this in. I don't think it'd take all day, but spent today welding this in. Then I suppose I could either rebuild this corner here, but I'm already started making a piece for here, so I think I'll remake that corner. We'll work our way around, and then I'll have a straight line over here to build this piece off of, and this whole piece right here, which I noticed was brazed in, which is another patch. I'll cut that out and rebuild as much of this as I can from here over. I'll put the fender back on and the bumper and use those as guides for how that's supposed to be set up. Well, I got that piece in there, and I don't know if you can see. I think I got a pretty good fit. Yeah, you can just see just a little bit of light on either side of it. There. Problem is there's a whole lot of light right here. I'm pretty satisfied with how well it fits, but boy oh boy is this car ever crusty. So I'm going to scribe that line there. You can see I've got some of that blue layout dye or dykem, whatever you want to call it. And I'll just scribe that line, then I'll cut it exactly on that line with my snips. And then I'll look at maybe welding this guy in here. Or at least clamping it in, I guess. Maybe I shouldn't weld it in until I got the rest of the rebuilding done. But it'll be my my matching form for everything. I made this piece before. I made this piece before, and that's to go in here approximately. I haven't exactly cut it to length, nor have I cut it to size, nor have I rolled over that top edge, but that gives you some idea of how much or how that's supposed to go. But yeah, it actually goes more like about like that, but nevertheless, because I've got it sitting on this, it's not exactly flush. Anyways, I'm just rambling. I got that that thing all cleaned off and ready to be tacked up in there. Anyways, guys, it's very hard to stay motivated here. There's just so much work, but it is rewarding to see at least the patch panel in there. Well, there's the panel all trimmed and in place, and I'll show it to you from the bottom because actually it's a little bit better from the bottom. There we go. Just a little bit of a gap there. That one hole from the registration hole I have to fill. Pretty level except right here in the middle. But what I'll do is I'll tack, up to the point where it's flush here, and up to the point, right around here it makes a transition, and then I'll just hammer and dolly it, and it'll line up perfectly at that point. But I won't weld it in yet. Okay, as you can see, I cut that piece right off, and I was in a bit of a crisis for a bit. And the reason why was I was trying to locate the bumper hole there, and bumper bolt hole, I guess I should call it. And I couldn't figure out how to do it because the whole front of this car is curved, but the bumper mounts are flat and they're parallel to each other, or in the same plane anyways. And then I realized that this mount here, which I suspect is probably for the fog lights or something like that, or maybe a different form of bumper, but nevertheless, that is actually in the same plane. So I just clamped a piece of 1/4-inch plate in it, and came to the realization that actually from this point on, right about there, you might be able to see the bend. It's actually, it starts to run parallel. It's not until just probably about a little bit after that it does, but nevertheless, I'm pretty sure that's the way it is. But in any case, I'm going to use this piece of 1/4-inch plate as my reference for the flat part of the bumper bracket. And I also realized that however much building up this guy did on here, that it should be, you know, in the same plane as this, and he actually scooped it out that way a bit, and relied on the rubber mounts to make the bumper align correctly. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to actually try and make it correct, despite having no real reference. Anyways, guys, this is late Saturday. I'll upload this video tomorrow after I get some more significant progress. Hey guys, it's Sunday morning, and as you can see, it's not fixed yet. But maybe this will help. And if that doesn't make it clear, then there's this one. And if I go over to here, I'll show you what I mean. I went and I was, there's my hole that I'm using as a reference. And I'm just showing or I just kind of did a rough pattern for the piece of metal that I want to cut out to fix this spot. And I decided to make it bigger, and I'm going to try and make it as much out of one piece as I possibly can. We'll see how we go with it. But I think it should work. And I'm going to bend all these along these various lines. I'm going to have to make some cuts. Like that has to make a cut down there. I think that has to have a cut so that this can all fold down there and all that sort of happy horse shit like that. Anyways, let's bend this up and I'll show you what it ends up looking like. So there you go. That's the corner. And I think I got it pretty close. It's just wrinkling a little bit along here. I have to trim this off, establish how that line connects to this one, and then I think that I will probably call everything below this point stuff that I'll make as a separate piece. I'm going to try and do this top part as one piece because, well, I want to rotate out of the way. I only need to rebuild up to here somewhere. That seems pretty solid, even though there's a patch there, but I would like to rebuild this flange completely. As you can see, it's completely separated, so it's completely pointless. But that should be achievable here. And I think that the crinkling there will be compensated for because we're 30 thou inside because we're going over top of the existing metal, and as a result, it's being pressed up against that. And believe me, that 30 thou makes a big difference. Okay, so I'm going to figure out where this lower line is, and where this line is going to be, and trim that off. Figure out where my bends are for here, which is going to actually be pretty easy. I can just trace that off there. And that upper flange, we'll see. I might be making more trouble for myself trying to make it out of one piece, but I'm going to try. Less number of pieces, even if it has a fair few weld lines in it, the better. I'd rather bend than weld, put it that way. Okay, I think I've got my pattern refined, so I'll put it on the card and you guys can see what I did. Now this should be reversible. I should be able to take it and exactly use it on this side. So that's the reason why I'm using that side, since I took this side, cut this side apart first before really thinking about what I was doing. Anyways, let's put this on. Okay, so here we are. That's basically how it's got to go in there. The only spot I haven't really refined is this spot here and there. But seeing as how that is, I'll probably just, weld it together and just round things off around here. There's nothing critical here. It's just all, connecting metal. And same goes down here. This is probably going to get cut off here. This is irrelevant, as is this part here, or most of this part too. But nevertheless, so I am going to just redraw that, cut that to shape on here, and then I'm going to try cutting a piece of metal. And we'll see how we go here. A lot of bends, but it should be very close to the final shape that I want. I might do the passenger or driver side first, then I've got something to reference against, and then I can refine it for the passenger side, which I don't have anything to work with here. Okay, metal origami here. Probably can't see the layout lines. I should have coated the whole thing with Dicam, but it's kind of a pain in the ass to do it. I can see the lines. I just need some basic bend lines, and And we're good. I don't know how easy it's going to be to bend along all these lines. A lot of them conflict. We'll have to see how we go here. I might have to strategize a bit here about how I'm going to bend this stuff, but no worries. I can always hand bend it. I think that would work just as well. How's about I get doing this? Well, after I made my first bend, it occurred to me that I really need to lay out both sides. Kind of camouflage, but I think the lines stand out fairly well. I just hit it with a rattle can bomb and went from there. So next shot of this will be this thing bent to shape. A little windy out there. Okay, so this isn't quite done, but I figured I'd detail to you guys how I'm actually doing the bends on this. I gave up on the idea of using the sheet metal brake to shape this. And what I ended up doing was I ended up grabbing a piece of rubber. This is actually stall matting that we had some scraps left when I did the floor of the horse trailer. And this is out of my chisel kit, the metal shaping chisel kit. And I've just been running along the back side of it, or depending upon which side I'm going on, and shaping it according. It's not the neatest thing, and I've had to dress it up with the hammer and dolly afterwards on some of the ones that are so-called done. But overall, it's a hell of a lot easier than wishing it to go straight. But anyways, I'm going to finish this. I just have to finish this line, do that line, and then bend that line. But I didn't want to completely bend that line until I knew where it was going to end up, because it's got to meet. This corner and that corner actually have to meet. You can see that there's actually quite a bit of disparity there. There'll be a bit of filler weld in that pie cut there, but it shouldn't be too big a deal. And I still have to finalize some of these bends, because actually when you have this many bends, like here and here and here and here, getting them all to meet isn't that hard, but there's actually the correct configuration, which is this is a fairly shallow bend, these end up being fairly sharp bends. Anyways, I'll show you when it's done, unless I come up with some other brilliant thing I want to talk about. Okay, there's the completed patch, and I think I'm satisfied with the way it is. It's kind of hard to get it to fit tight in here because there's so much stuff that needs to be cut out. Even as it was, I cut out like a fair bit of stuff, but there's still all this other stuff that's scabbed in here, big piece of big blobs of weld, other bits of seam that I have to cut out. This part right here is being cut out, but even it's raising up my panel a bit. I have to trim around it, all that sort of fun stuff. But I'm satisfied that I've got the right shape. It looks a little bit suspect right up there, but I'm not that worried, because that part will actually probably not end up being replaced. Although if you look at that space there to that space there, it looks about the same. So I think we're fine. So none of this is welded, obviously, but and that looks a little bit raised up, but a little bit of hammer and dolly will be fine. So I think I'm satisfied that I can make that shape work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out another one and do my part at making it work on this side. And this side I actually have a little bit more flexibility, because I can put the fender back on and use it to form that shape to exactly what I need or I want before I weld anything in. Anyways, let's make a new panel for this side, and we'll go from there. Well, that was a hell of a lot easier. I decided to try out this tipping die in the bead roller there, and that's the one where you basically apply upward pressure as you roll it through, and it does the bend for you. And it's not the neatest, but with practice it can become much better than what I was doing then with the hammer and dolly and just banging it over a piece of metal and all that. Regardless, I'm going to keep going with this. This is actually quite encouraging. It'd be nicer if I had a skateboard wheel on the bottom. You know, something that had some, excuse me, some level of compliance in it, so that it could, so that it would, you know, like kind of press into it, and I think it would form it a lot more easily. It also would help if I had something like a steering wheel on here. I don't think I have anything in the junk bin that I can put on there, because this is a pain in the ass. I've seen guys who've motorized these things, but the gear motors are pricey. And I've tried with a windshield washer motor and it doesn't work. Not enough torque. Anyways, let's finish this guy and I'll show you the end result. Okay, there's the piece clamped in place. I have to do a fair bit of trimming, and this has to come back a bit more. I have to cut some of that out, and then that'll more or less match that that edge. This also has to be, this lip has to be repaired, so that would close that up because there's a piece scabbed in over top of that. And this needs some trimming down here to bring it basically out to rough shape like that. And obviously I need to go and probably screw this down so that I can do that all properly there. You know, like there's a big bump there that I have to cut out of there. That's once more some more of that brazing. Anyways, I don't think it's too bad. I'm not 100% with this one. I like the way the other one on the driver's side turned out. I think it turned out a little bit better, but yeah, that might help a little bit with some of that stuff. Yeah, it has to come back a fair bit. It's hitting there, and it's hitting at the inside bottom, and all that fun stuff. But nonetheless, I'm not going to complain. I think I got it pretty close. Now I just have to figure out how I can tie all this in. So that has to be cut off there because it's interfering with that piece. And then this has to be patched right here, but that's a relatively small patch. I may cut this back a fair bit and then just let that patch that goes in there come all the way across. We'll see how we go here. Anyways, guys, I'm just rambling as I look at this thing here. And, you know, it is what it is. It's a homemade patch. I'm not going to say it's great, but I think it looks okay. One thing I did miscalculate is I think I assumed that angle was greater than it actually was. So there's a fairly big gap here. Even after this all gets cut and fit a little bit better, it won't close up much. So I'll have to figure out how. I'll probably have to, you know, maybe just cut a little bit bigger piece out of there and bring a piece into that, but such as it is. So this is getting closer. And once this corner is done, then I can do this piece, and then I can do this piece. I can do the bumper bracket. I can locate the bumper bracket holes. And once that's done and this stuff is all welded in, then this corner is officially done. You know, but I still have to fix the fender, which is rebuilding this lip. All the way it goes in here, fixing all the rust out of it, and on and on. But we're closer. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching.